We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
We believe this new virus spreads mostly from person to person through respiratory droplets produced when someone who is sick coughs or sneezes. This is similar to how flu and other respiratory illnesses spread. These droplets can land in the mouth or nose of people nearby, or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Most person-to-person spread happens when people are in close contact. It's also possible that this virus can spread when someone touches a contaminated surface and then touches the mouth, nose, or eyes.
The virus that causes coronavirus disease is spreading in some of our communities. This disease, also known as COVID-19, is thought to spread mainly from person to person through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. These droplets can spread to the mouth, nose, or hands of people who are nearby, or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Take steps to lower your risk of getting sick. Here are some things you should do. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. You can also use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Take extra measures to put distance between yourself and others. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Stay home if you're sick, except to get medical care. If you have severe symptoms, please call 911. Cover coughs and sneezes with a tissue or the inside of your elbow. Only wear a face mask if you're sick and around other people, or if you need to take care of someone who is sick. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces. Older adults and people who have severe chronic medical conditions like heart or lung disease or diabetes are at higher risk for more serious illness from COVID-19. This group should consult with their healthcare provider about additional steps to stay protected. For more information on COVID-19, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Let's work together to protect ourselves, our families, and our communities.
Here are the top 10 things you can do if you think you might have coronavirus or COVID-19. 1. Stay home. 2. Monitor your symptoms carefully. If they worsen, call your healthcare provider. 3. Rest and stay hydrated. 4. If you have a medical appointment, call ahead and let them know you may have COVID-19. 5. If your symptoms are severe, call 911. 6. Cover your cough and sneezes. 7. Wash your hands often. 8. Stay away from others in your home. Use a separate bathroom. 9. Avoid sharing personal items. And 10. Clean all surfaces that are touched often. For more information on COVID-19, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jay Butler, Deputy Director for Infectious Diseases at CDC. I'd like to talk to you about the new virus that causes the disease COVID-19. Older adults and people who have severe chronic medical conditions like heart, lung, or kidney disease or diabetes may be at higher risk for severe illness from COVID-19. If you are one of the people at increased risk for serious COVID-19 illness, it's especially important for you to take action to reduce the risk of getting COVID-19 now. The first thing you can do is take care of your own health. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol if soap and water are not available. Cover your coughs or sneezes with a tissue, or cough or sneeze into your elbow, not your hands. Avoid contact with people who are sick. Clean and disinfect surfaces in your home, such as counters, tabletops, and doorknobs to remove germs. Use household cleaning sprays or wipes according to the label instructions. The next thing you can do is make a plan for what to do if you do get sick. Know who will take care of you if your caregiver gets sick. Talk to your healthcare provider about getting extra necessary medications to have on hand. Get enough supplies too, including enough household items and groceries so you can stay home for a few weeks if you have to. The third thing you can do is pay attention to what's happening locally. If COVID-19 is spreading in your community, stay home as much as possible and avoid crowds. If you get sick with fever, cough, or shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider. If you develop warning signs, such as difficulty breathing, persistent pain or pressure in your chest, confusion, or blueness of the lips or face, these may be signs of serious illness. Call 911. For more information and the latest resources, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19 or call 1-800-CDC-INFO. That's 1-800-232-4636.
We believe this new virus spreads mostly from person to person through respiratory droplets produced when someone who is sick coughs or sneezes. This is similar to how flu and other respiratory illnesses spread. These droplets can land in the mouth or nose of people nearby, or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Most person-to-person spread happens when people are in close contact. It's also possible that this virus can spread when someone touches a contaminated surface and then touches the mouth, nose, or eyes.
My name is Jeffrey Van Wingen. I'm a family physician practicing in Grand Rapids, Michigan with 20 years experience. The point of this video is to help you shop safer and get takeout food safer during the stay-at-home shutdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. Today is March 24th, and we've been in this for about a week here, and things are just starting to get serious. I'm a healthcare provider under a lot of stress. Please be nice in your comments. We are at stay-at-home orders here in Michigan, and more states are coming on board with this, and our movements are restricted. Italy went on a stay-at-home order on March 10th, and despite that, they posted their greatest death toll on March 20th. So people are moving, and with that movement comes risk. We have a dilemma in society that we need to eat to live, but we also need to get that food. And that getting of food is now risky. And I'm going to help you reduce your risk as you go out into the marketplace. Now, they say that desperate times call for desperate measures, and these times are unprecedented. But I believe there is a precedent that we use in the medical field called sterile technique that can reduce risk as you go out in the marketplace. And we use it to perform surgeries, to be in sterile environments so that we don't give infections to our patients. And I'm going to help you adapt those techniques to decrease your risk of contracting coronavirus when you go out and get your food. Now, I want to answer the question, how long does the coronavirus live outside of a human body? And we've recently gotten some conflicting data, and I just want to throw that out there. Last week, the National Institute of Health published in the New England Journal of Medicine an article that showed that coronavirus can live in an aerosolized, outside the body situation for 3 hours. It can live on cardboard for 1 hour, and it can live on plastic and metal surfaces for 3 days. That's a lot better to deal with than the data that we got just last night from the Center for Disease Control that found that on cruise ships, they discovered active coronavirus particles 17 days later. Now, we don't know if that's something specific for the cruise ships or if that's something that we need to adapt to society. So in this, I'm going to give some practices and we're just going to say, go out there, use this knowledge, and do the best that you can. Now, when you go out to get your groceries and you bring them home, try not to bring them into your house unless you absolutely need them. Now, if we're going to go with the logic of the National Institute of Health, we could leave those groceries in our garage or on our porch for 3 days. And if you use a shopping service, please don't have them come into your house. Have them dump them outside so that you can bring them in when you need them. And if you must bring them in, we're going to go through some tips using these modified sterile techniques to remove possible coronavirus from the groceries containers and the groceries themselves. Now, thinking about how I can explain this to a public, imagine that the groceries that you have are covered with some glitter. And your goal at the end of this is to not have any glitter in your house, on your hands, or especially on your face. And imagine that disinfectants and soap, they have the power to dissolve that glitter. So when you're out in the store, it's not just about wiping down the shopping cart handle with an antiseptic wipe. We need to do more than that. We need to be better than that when we go into the supermarket. Here's some tips. Wipe down your cart. When you look at items and you're considering buying, commit to buy those items before you pick them up. You don't know if there's coronavirus on those and you don't want to be putting coronavirus on those. Stores are doing better. They're sanitizing their stores at night, but they are not sanitizing every canned good and every plastic wrapped item. Don't go to the supermarket if you have any respiratory illness whatsoever. Furthermore, don't allow your loved ones over the age of 60 to go to the supermarket. We need to take care of our elders in these times, and we can bring groceries to them after we've ensured that they're safe. Plan before you go to the supermarket. Minimize your time in the supermarket. And I recommend that you get 2 weeks worth of groceries when you go. Now, before I go outdoors and get my groceries to bring them inside, I'm going to sanitize my table. I'm just going to use a standard disinfectant. And on that note, the Center for Disease Control says that we can use any standard disinfectant to rid our surfaces of coronavirus. I'm going to saturate this so that when I come to it and go back to it, I'm going to consider this as clean. Now this side of the table is going to be my clean side, and we're going to consider the other side of the table as a dirty side where we're going to put our groceries from outside the house. So remember, everything that goes to this side of the table is going to be considered clean and sanitized. Now I have a bag with some medicine in it. I'm going to open that bag, but because I know that human hands have touched this medication bottle in less than 72 hours, I'm going to wipe that down, and I'm going to place it on the clean side. But this box of cereal is a different story. It's a box that has cardboard, so we know that coronavirus can likely live on this surface for 24 hours. But on the inside, no human hands have touched this for more than a few days, so I can just dump that and I can get rid of the box. Now with this broccoli, I've got a couple different options. I could have somebody open my refrigerator, open the crisper, open the bag, and dump it right in the crisper, or I could just sanitize it. Now, I've got to bring some groceries to my parents. They're in their mid-70s, and I'm going to be dropping those off later today. So I'm going to grab this bag, put it on the clean surface, and I'm going to just dump their groceries into this bag. Now, I'm a big fan of cloth bags, but I don't think now was the time for me to take my cloth bags and increase risk. But if you must, after you're done with those cloth bags, consider them dirty and make sure that they go outside. So I'm going to wipe this down and make sure that your rag is good and saturated with disinfectant, because you got to be putting that disinfectant on these groceries, and you got to be making sure that you're scrubbing them. Now, one other thing that I could do with certain items, such as this bread, is I can use clean containers to dump items inside without touching those items. So I'm going to just dump this bread into this container to seal it off and not allow any sort of contamination of the bag. More hardy plastic things that you're not worried about disinfecting more liberally, you can actually spray the disinfectant right on those items. Now these chips, again, I could dump them into a container, but I'm just going to choose to spray them off. That's okay, before they go into the pantry. Now, you want to wipe off the areas that you think humans' hands were touching a bit more liberally than the areas that you don't think human hands have touched. That's all common sense stuff. Now lastly, I've got some fruit here, and the way I'm going to handle fruit is I'm going to treat this fruit, which is pretty much porous. It's kind of like our skin. So if I wash that like we should be washing our hands for 20 seconds, then that should be just fine. I'm going to dump it in some soapy water here. And I'm going to come back and watch each one individually. And I do think that the better you are soaking the fruit, the better it's going to be as far as your chances of getting that completely sterilized from coronavirus. Now let's take care of this fruit. According to the Center for Disease Control, we should wash our hands with soap, getting lots of friction for about 20 seconds. So for video purposes, I'm going to be a little quicker here, but we should be spending ideally 20 seconds on each piece of fruit, just washing and scrubbing. I know all this seems like it's time consuming, but these days, in truth, people do have a bit more time on their hands. Let's be methodical and be safe and not take any chances. What I'm going to do is just rinse it off, try to get all the soap off it, and then we're good to go. Now let's talk about takeout. Okay, so I've just returned from foraging for some food. I have a clean table all around, some clean plates, and my goal, since I don't know the situation inside of the fast food restaurant, is to get this food over to here in a clean way, and then get this cleaned off and get it outside the house. So to do that, I'm going to wash my hands here. Say I did that for 20 seconds with soap and water, scrubbing real good. I'm going to open up this. Now, fortunately, the good news is that you don't have to worry so much about the food. Coronavirus does not do well in food, but it's the wrappers that I'm more concerned about. And I know you're asking, can I microwave this? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, you can. Now, I'm not talking about the novel Covid19 coronavirus. I'm referring to some other coronavirus species, and studies showed that even just a little bit of microwaving takes care of the coronavirus. In addition, Heat destabilizes the coronavirus as well. The downside is that on the other side, with frozen foods, you're not going to do so well. Some coronavirus species can live inside of a frozen environment for up to 2 years. So I would not consider your freezer safe ground to kill coronavirus. A good example would be a frozen pizza. You bring a frozen pizza in, you've got the cardboard box, you've got some plastic wrapping, and with that, you can dump the plastic out and consider the cardboard dirty, and then go ahead, clean your hands and put that plastic into the freezer and you're good. With ice cream, I would make sure that you use some disinfectant to scrub down the outside of the container before you put it into the freezer. With sauces, you want to try to get these sauces onto the plate without exposing to the packaging. Just do the best you can. Now, what I'll do is I'll throw these in the microwave before I start to eat them. I'm going to try to get them hot so I see some steam coming off them. When you do choose food at a takeout restaurant, I think now's the time to choose more hot goods over cold goods. And that's it. I'm going to ask you to share this video. It's not about popularity. It's about getting the word out with education. In these unprecedented times, safety out in the marketplace can literally save lives.